Hi, my name is Håkan Silvernagel, and I would like to welcome you to my session on AI Santa's workshop, Custom Rhymes and Cards. I work as an AI evangelist for Soprasteria, and I'm also a Microsoft AI MVP. Now, to set the scene here, we're only a couple of days away from Christmas. And when it's Christmas, you basically have two challenges. The first challenge is to find Christmas gifts for your loved ones, and the second challenge is coming up with a custom rhyme and also an illustration for your Christmas gifts. Where I'm from Sweden, we have this tradition that the week before Christmas we gather together and then we sit down and we try to come up with a nice rhyme for your Christmas gifts and also come up with an illustration. So I was thinking, can I use AI in order to help me achieve this rhyme and card? So that's basic idea here and premise of our solution. So in my presentation and in my demo, I will demonstrate how we can use Semantic Kernel and we can use Prompty in order to fastly iterate and do some proof of concepts, and then how we can translate this into a web application using Blazor. But in order for us to understand more how this application will look like, let me switch over to Internet Explorer. So this is the final result here that we will have. So this is a Blazor application where we can generate a Christmas rhyme. So first we select the gift that we want to give away. So let's say that we would like to give away a book. Then the first thing that we would like to do is we would like to get a rhyme here with a book. So here we get the Christmas rhyme. So it says, in pages filled with tales galore, adventure waits behind each door. So cozy up with a cup of tea, this book is a gift from me to thee. So that's quite a nice rhyme here. And then we can also do a fabrication here. So with the fabricate, we will create an illustration for this book. And then I've set some guidelines here that the illustration should contain Santa Claus, it should be Christmassy, and it should contain warm and bright colors. So this is the illustration that we got here for our book. So you can see it's truly a Christmas illustration. It has Santa Claus and it has some nice colors to it. So let me go back here to my presentation. So the agenda here for today is I'm going to be discussing what is an AI assistant and what's the difference between AI assistants and AI agents. And after that, we're going to have a quick overview of what Semantic Kernel is. We're going to go through Prompty, and then after that, I will show you some demos here. We're going to start out in Visual Studio Code, and we're going to do some prototyping. And when we are finished there, we will switch over to Visual Studio, where we'll develop a Blazor application that we just saw. But first, just some facts here about me. As I said, I work as an AI evangelist for Soprasteria. I'm also a Microsoft MVP for the 5th year in a row. And you can also find some more information here about me. I'm also a community leader, so I'm organizing 4 different meetups. AI42, which is a virtual online school for learning about AI. I'm also the organizer for Oslo AI, which is an in-person meetup in Oslo. And I'm also the organizer for the Norwegian .NET user group in Oslo. And I'm running the Azure user group Sweden together with my MVP colleague Jonah Anderson. So maybe a lot of you people have heard about AI assistants. There has been a lot of talk about AI assistants in form of co-pilots, in form of ChatGPT, and other similar things. So some parts which are defining for AI assistant is that it's conversational. You need to interact with a prompt. So in order for the AI assistant to give you some value, you need to first provide it with some input in form of a prompt. and it can give back some recommendation, and you can also improve the AI assistant by using fine-tuning. Now, with AI agents, they are much more independent. They don't require a prompt. So the idea here is that you have small software modules that can decide on their own what is needed for me in order to achieve a specific goal. So, for example, if you're going to be planning a schedule, you have some trucks, you have some workers, and you have some transports that needs to be carried out, then you can use an agent that will take the different types of schedules and will be able to create a schedule which is optimized dependent on these different types of workloads. So with an AI agent, you can use the agent here to do decision making and also to take an action without having to be explicitly programmed. So one of the frameworks that we can use here in order to create our agents is something called Semantic Kernel. So Semantic Kernel is a way for us to create a workflow component. So with Semantic Kernel, you can decide either you're going to activate a plugin that you have written yourself, or you can use a third-party plugin. You can interact with other AI apps, with ChatGPT, for example, or you can call out to other services, like if you want to use Google to do some search, or maybe you want to use a weather service in order to get some data into your app. And currently, Semantic Kernel is provided in 3 different flavors. You can develop using C# or Python or Java. And as you can see from this graph here, C# is the most fully fledged of these 3 different alternatives. But probably in time here, we will also be able to use the same type of functionality here, both in Python and in Java. So for example, we're going to be using the text to image using DALL-E in order to create our illustrations. So that we need to use C# for our development here today. So one of the things that we're going to be using here is Prompty. So Prompty comes also in a couple of different flavors here. You can either use it together with LangChain or with Semantic Kernel or with Prompt Flow. So basically what it gives you a tool where you can interact and prototype in a very quick manner here. So Prompty comes with some different types of flavors. One is using Visual Studio Code. So here we can see an example here of a prompt, and then we only need to press the play button here in order to play our prompt and prototype it and see what kind of result it gives back. But we also have a Prompty playground, prompt flow, where you can interact in a more visual way. And you can also use it here in code. So here's an example here of Semantic Kernel, where we are adding the Prompty into our Semantic Kernel, and then we can just invoke the Prompty and get back the result. So now it's time to switch over and do a couple of demos here. So we're going to start out in Visual Studio Code. So let me switch over to VS Code. So now I've switched over to Visual Studio Code here. And I've installed an extension, which is Prompty. And that enables me to create a new file format here called Prompty. So then I've created 2 different prompts that we're going to try out. The first one is in order for us to create a rhyme, and the second one is for us to create this illustration or the image. And then our final file is a program file where we combine the Christmas rhyme and the image so that we can get both the Christmas rhyme and an image which match this rhyme. So here we can see that we name our prompted file and we give it a description. We want a prompt that uses a gift item as an input, and then it creates a Christmas rhyme back as an output. And we also need to define what kind of model is it. So we define that it's a chat. We're going to use the chat API, and we do some configuration. We're going to be using the Azure Open AI, and we need to provide the endpoint and also our deployment name for our Azure Open AI. And we also need to define some parameters like the max tokens and the temperature, and also what kind of format do we want our response object to be. So in this case, we're selecting a JSON object as our response format. And then we define here what our inputs. So our inputs will be a question, and then we define here also some sample data. So we give it a context here in our prompt. So here said that you should provide a Christmas rhyme for a particular gift, and the rhymes should be in the following format. And then we give some examples here. So for example, for a movie ticket, we are creating the rhyme, sorry, you can't use this one for watching cricket, but still it is a kind of a ticket. You have to use it anywhere else, my friend. And then the first name is going to give it with its warmest hand. And then we give it a system prompt that you're an AI assistant who helps people with rhymes for the Christmas gift. And as the assistant, you will write a rhyme based on the gift item and answer in a personal manner, and even add some personal flair with the appropriate emojis. Respond using the JSON format by including the original gift and the rhyme. So then we can try this out here in VS Code. So we're going to press the play button, and then we need to expand this a little bit here. So here we can see that it's loaded some environment variables, and then it calls our Azure Open AI instance that we have deployed here on Azure. And then we can see the gift was a cozy blanket, and then we get the Christmas rhyme back. As winter's chill begins to creep, this cozy blanket's here to keep. Warm and snug, you'll feel just right. Merry Christmas, Håkan, on this night. Then we can also try the second prompt here, which is in order for us to create our illustration. So we call it an image prompt, and we says that this is a prompt that uses a gift item and creates an image back as the output. And in a similar manner, we define that we're going to use the chat, and we define the endpoint and deployment for our Azure Open AI, and the parameters for max tokens and temperature. And we also give them an example here. So we said you should take the gift as an input and turn that into an image prompt for DALL-E 3. So basically what this image prompt will give us back is an image prompt that we then can send to DALL-E 3 to create the actual image. And the image will always be Christmas themed with a lot of red colors and winter details in it. So we can also try this one out by pressing the play button here. And then let me expand this thing. So here we can see it has loaded the environment variables, and then we said that we wanted to give a book, and this is the image prompt for that gift. So the image prompt is a cozy Christmas scene featuring a beautifully wrapped book with a red ribbon placed under a decorated Christmas tree. The background is filled with snowflakes gently falling outside, while inside a warm fireplace glows. Santa Claus is reading the book surrounded by cheerful reindeer and playful Santa dwarfs. The colors are vibrant with the predominance of red and winter details, creating a festive holiday atmosphere. So this is a way that we can very rapidly prototype our prompts, and we can adjust and we can test it again. So the feedback loop is very, very short here, which is a benefit. So let's say here that we're content here with these two prompts. Okay, so now we are finished with prototyping for our Christmas rhyme and also for our image prompt. So then let's try to set these two things together. So we're still in Visual Studio Code, and what I've done is I have added Semantic Kernel, and we are adding some configuration data for our model on Azure Open AI. Then we create here a kernel for our rhyme. So we're using Semantic Kernel to create a builder, and where we add our Azure Open AI chat completion endpoint. And then as some arguments here, we are giving it some examples here, some context for our prompt. And we are also giving it here the file path to our prompt file. And then after a while here, we invoke this kernel rhyme together with our kernel arguments, and we get our Christmas rhyme. And then we're doing the same thing here for our image prompt. So we define context, we define our prompt file, and then we are creating a function here from the prompt file, and finally we invoke that so that we can get our image prompt. So we should say here also that the image prompt is an image prompt that we will then send to DALL-E in order to get our image. So here we are defining our text to image service, and then we are calling our text to image service using this image prompt that we got here from Promptim, and then we will finally get an image URL. So let's try this one out. So now I set the breakpoint here just so that we can check our rhyme. So then we can see that it's a Christmas rhyme, a book to my dear father, wise and kind. A book awaits full of stories to find. In pages turned, new worlds will unfold. Adventure and wisdom, treasures to hold. Merry Christmas, Dad, with love in every look. Then we can continue here. And then we can have a look at our image prompt. So our image prompt says a cozy Christmas scene featuring a beautifully wrapped book in the foreground. The background is filled with a warm fireplace, stockings hung with care, and a decorated Christmas tree with twinkling lights. Santa Claus is reading the book with a joyful expression, surrounded by playful reindeer peeking in through the window, and snow gently falling outside. The color palette is rich in reds, greens, and whites, capturing the festive spirit of Christmas. So then let's just continue. And here we got our URL to the image. So let us paste this one into the browser. Yeah, so we can see that this was the book and it looks very Christmassy. So that's the end here of our first part. So in our first part, we have demonstrated that by using Prompty, we can rapidly prototype using Visual Studio Code. And once we get things in a good shape, then we can use Semantic Kernel in order to combine these two prompty files that we used. In the next step, we will use these two prompty files in order to create a web application so that we can give our users the ability to use this. Okay, so now we have switched over to Visual Studio. So we have created a Blazor application here in order to create a web application where we can use this functionality of creating a Christmas rhyme and a Christmas card. So you can see here in our folder structure, so we have the main project, which is the Santa workshop, which is the Blazor project, and then we have some help projects here. For example, everything related to the Azure AI we've created in a separate project. We have also some models, and we have also some open telemetry observability, and we have some simple storage classes here. So if we look through the main file here, I think maybe the most interesting thing here is probably that we're using Mud Blazor, which is a framework so that you can get a little bit different user interface look and feel. But the main core here of the application is in the Azure AI project. So in our Azure AI project, we can see that we have a folder here with prompts. So the prompts is the same prompts that we've used here from before. So we can recognize these ones, create image prompt and create rhyme prompt, which is basically a copy paste here from the ones that we were using in Visual Studio Code. Then we are also having some services here to help us create the rhyme and the illustration. So we have a service called Rhyme Service. So in a rhyme service, we are basically getting a gift as an input here, and then we invoke our plugin. So we invoke the prompty plugin, and we invoke a specific function here, and we add the arguments, which is what type of gift we would like to have. And then we're calling this function, we get the value from it, and then we deserialize from JSON, and we get back our Christmas rhyme. And we have a similar setup here in the Christmas image fabricator. So here we also get the name here of our gift, and we invoke a function here with the prompty and what is the function name and the arguments. And then the result here is the image prompt, and we want to send this image prompt to DALL-E so that we can get the actual image back. So we're using a service here called text to image service, and we're defining what the dimensions here, 1024 times 1024, and then we get our image back here, and we just return it. So as we can see, it's there's not so much code that we need to write in order to get these things up and running. And then we also have some configuration, which is in this file here. So here in the service collection extension, we are configuring our service. So we're defining the deployment and the endpoint and the key to Azure Open AI, and also to this Azure Open AI text to image service. Then we create our kernel. We add these prompty functions and the prompty templates, and we are doing some dependency injections so that we can use this rhyme service and this Christmas image fabricator. And that's basically it. So let us go back here to our presentation. So now we're back here in our presentation. So if you want to know more about this, you can have a look at the official GitHub repo for Semantic Kernel, and there is also a Microsoft Learn section here on the introduction to Semantic Kernel. So you can just scan this QR code to get to these links. And if you want to know more about me, you feel free to follow me here on LinkedIn. And if you have any questions, you can just send me a message there. So with that said, I would like to thank all of you for watching this session, and a special thank you to the Festive Tech Calendar for hosting this session. And with that said, I would like to wish you all a very Merry Christmas.